You ready, Monica?
Yes, hi James.
Hi.
I'm ready, yes.
Great, okay. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day, the fourth evening of the Yoga of Love. And before we start our session, we'll have a moment's silence. So, good evening. Warm welcome. So, tonight we have Dr. Monica Gilatti with us. She's an immunologist by training, and she realized that scientific research was not her calling while studying at the University of Zurich. Cancer, yes, cancer was her wake-up call. It made her realize that her truth was the way of the heart. She now lives fearlessly through every movement, reading every inner message and meeting the challenges of existence. She is a relentless explorer and feels graced to be on this inner journey, hand in hand with her fellow travelers. She works very closely with NAMAH, of which she is an editor, and is actively engaged in facilitating workshops and online events for us, other organizations too, and also for her own behalf. The subject of her session is the purifying power of love. So I'm really looking forward to this session. I'm a transformed Monica in appearance. The purifying power of love. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you so much, James. And thank you everyone for being here today. So James just shared that we have a very good little group and not much interaction yet has happened. So if possible, let us start. If one by one we can share our reflections on whatever kind of love we have experienced, and how do you feel? Do you feel that it has a purifying aspect? Or if it has, in what sense? Any kind of love that we have come across. Mother says that love is only one. There are not 10 different kinds of love. That it's only one divine love. And of course, later we can discuss about how it is mixed with expectations, demands, and cravings, and whatever, and takes a distorted form. But if one by one, whoever wants to come forward and share, unmute and share your experience of love and how it has this purifying quality to it. Any thoughts, anyone? I'm sure all of us have experiences in love Yes. Yes, Rick. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rick. I've fallen, that's the chosen word, fallen in love several times in my life, and experienced it in retrospect, recognize it as human love. And my characteristic is I've gone into possessiveness almost immediately. And my journey has led me to understanding that and to seeing this possessiveness as a characteristic of human love. At least I'm drawn to love. That's the way I'm looking at it now. At least I've been drawn to love, and it has changed and each time and lessened and gone away, basically. And I finally, at age 72, I'm now 73, I finally got it, and am not expecting a human relationship to be the complete center point of my life, as I have up till now. So the purifying effect has been one of growth. Thank you.
Yes, very beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Rick.
Hello. This is Shakuntala speaking.
Yeah.
My experience of love, I underwent in human journey all shades of opposite of love, and which restricts you from your expression and establishing yourself on this earth. You feel very shaky and undependable on anybody whom you trust, and you give yourself, but in return you expect that the other person will support you in your journey, but that has not been so. So finally, going within myself, by reading Mother and Sri Aurobindo's yoga and their writings, I gathered myself within, and now to give myself is a lot more easier because I am under the support and guidance of the mother. So nothing is completely lost. On the other hand, I feel enriched. So this is the love which I'm experiencing now and also experimenting.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yes. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share next? Yeah, I'm sure we all have experiences in love. Anyone wants to come forward? Even if it's human love, because we all start from there, no one is born with divine love. We all have our impurities mixed. So, but human love itself has evolutionary, it has a purpose, as Rick was sharing. Yeah. Anyone who wants to share?
Hi, can I share, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Preeti here, and yeah, you are right. When it comes to humanly love, of course, it's there, but present state of mind is very confused right now in my case. So I've been always drawn towards the divine love, but have been always withheld because of the humanly love, and not been able to therefore take any serious decision, and really want to focus myself on the divine love. But something or the other keeps pulling us back, keeps pulling me back. Either it's my attachment towards my own family or the society at large, or my own, or the secular aspects, of earning money, having a career, and all those things. But this pull is very strong, very strong. And every day there is a turmoil in my heart and my mind. There is a continuous fight that is happening. There is a continuous fight. So yes, seeking for answers for the same also. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sure all of us can resonate with what you shared. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who wants to go next? Yes,
Yes,
Nalin.
Monica. I'm not switching on my video,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I went through a terrible emotional upheaval because of betrayal of trust. And I thought that the love that I experienced from this person would be an unending source, a perennial source, because that was what I experienced for 25 years. And when that was withdrawn, and I don't know for what reason, I went through a terrible emotional upheaval, and it impacted my health for about almost 5 to 10 years. And I really lost the quality of life. And it was then that I met Dr. Yogesh Mohan, and I went to him for healing. And I didn't know at all. I went like a babe, I just did not know what was going to unfold. He just told me to close my eyes and go within my body and tell him what I saw. And it was amazing, a whole stage thing opened up within my heart, and I really saw this whole thing, people who had betrayed my trust and the entire process. And as he asked me to invite Mother's light, I gently saw all these people just dissolve like a block of salt into the ocean. Literally, I saw 2-3 people, just like they were no longer human beings, but they were just blocks of salt dissolving into the ocean as he led me through this process of inviting Mother's light. And for me, I think that was the greatest expression of love, Mother's light. And then I realized that love can take on so many nuances. I never thought of this light as an expression of utmost love that is so unalloyed and pure. And then there's so much of healing. There's so much of healing. I recovered my wellness at all levels. I feel greatly, greatly indebted to the Mother for this wonderful expression of love. Yeah. So that's my experience of what love is.
Thank
so
you.
pure.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Monica.
Yeah. Hi, Kumi.
Okay, so not too much, but yes, I'm also still discovering love. For me, it was just like the physical and the human love that we just give and take, and a lot of things attached to it, like possessiveness and like my other peers here shared. So I'm also discovering it, and I feel I think I've now realized the more you let it go and let it be, and without expectations, the more it comes back to you. So when we keep holding on to it, so you feel really suffocated, and you suffocate the other person also, and you don't actually get what you were looking for, the love that you're looking for. But once you just let it be without expectations and just give, it's all about giving, giving, and giving. So automatically you start receiving without expecting. So more to understand here about love. Thank you. That's my sharing.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share before we go ahead? Yeah. Devika, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. Of course, I've had, I guess, painful journeys of romantic love. And it's been a long journey of, really losing myself in the other person completely, And for me, that used to feel like, there's nothing else in the world but just that one person. And I've learned slowly that you can love someone, but you have to also, but the problem with human love in that degree is that then you get taken advantage of, and if it's not a equal kind of a relationship, it's painful. So I've learned to not expect. I've learned not to be needy. I've learned to give myself, but um, in a more balanced way, but still give myself with enough self-giving and love that I can. And for me, it's not just romantic love that's human love. Honestly, for me, it's loving to be in nature. It's not just human love. It's loving I don't have children, but I love children. But I love my nieces to bits. I love walking in nature. I love so many other things. I love beauty, and I love appreciating so many things. So I think human love encompasses loving your environment, your surroundings, other people, art, beauty, poetry, just watching a sunset, or just walking, or being with myself. I love being with myself. So, in fact, that's the time I really recharge. So, I think there's so many kinds of love, and it's a very complex thing. It's just not just about romantic love. But yes, I have come a long way, and I think I'm now with a partner who's actually we got married, so I have a husband who's the kind of person who's not very effusive. So sometimes it still triggers me in feeling, oh, I'm not loved. But I think, it's a journey. And then I think of course, in my spiritual evolution, for me, it's like, yes, as Rick said, there's no one person, human being who can give you that complete love. And for me, having all the abundance that I have, the opportunities that I have, the people who love and support me, that is divine, the divine showing their love for me. So I'm very grateful for that, and to be shown that. And I think that my real one thing is that I really love and thank the divine for being able to receive that kind of love and understand it as divine love also. So that's just in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think very resonative. I'm sure all of us can resonate. Yes. And as you said, it's a complex, it's a mystery. That's why it's called a mystery of love, that it's not that easy to, or on one hand, it's a paradox also because it's very simple, but it's, it's not just one thing. We cannot put it into a formula, as you said. Yes. Yeah. So I think we have really beautiful sharings here. And you all have touched many points which are so important to touch. I think as Shakuntala ji was sharing, Julie has shared something. Yeah, beautiful. So Julie is sharing, for me, listening somebody in silence with compassion is love. Absolutely. Yeah. So we all saw that we all want a ground. All of us are as if seeking for some permanence. And that's why we are shaken almost whenever we try to fall back upon a person for a long time. For once it can happen, but we cannot fall back on a person, whether it's romantic love or whatever love, for an infinite number of time. It's impossible to make any other person our ground. That's what we see. That's why we are heartbroken. We are feeling betrayed because the person whom I trusted the most, that has left me groundless. Now I am totally groundless. And maybe this is our journey to be with groundlessness, because things are impermanent. People are changing, their priorities will change. Just like I am changing, my priorities change. I am pulled away from, this part and that part in my life. That other person is also pulled in the same way from this part, and this person and that person in his life. So we cannot, it's impossible to make any life situation or a person our ground. And whenever we have done it, all of us have shared, whenever we have done it, we have fallen on our nose, because that is not supposed to happening. It's not supposed to be happening. We cannot have our fulfillment in a person. And also see that what would happen if that was possible. That if I got my fulfillment in a purpose, in a person, I would just be narrowed. My whole world will be narrowed down to that family, that person. If I am too contented, so I'll not be expanding my family. Not as Devika was sharing. I don't have my own children, but I love people around me. Children around me. So if I get fulfillment in my child, absolute contentment and joy in my child or my lover or whatever, one relationship, I'll not open my heart. And the divine, obviously, who is not separate something from us, we are not supposed to be living separately in our individual walls all around us, and the rest of the world can go to hell. My family and my lover, that is what matters, and no wonder that it never happens. That we are never able to have a solid ground in any person or a life situation, and hence the suffering in love, hence the pain in love, because we make any person our ground and then it's taken apart, we are ripped apart. We are again feeling that groundlessness. So can I now see the nature of things, that it is impermanent, everything is changing all the time, and can I now be okay with being groundless? Yes, there is no ground. It gives a dizzy feeling almost, that there is no ground. And isn't that beautiful also, because there is absolute freedom. Because if I make any person or a life situation as a ground, then I'm tied to it, the freedom is not there. But if I don't have any ground, I know that, then all that I can do is, as I think Devika suggested, that being there in the now, enjoying whatever, appreciating whatever beauty, so much beauty is there in this world, in ourselves, in others around us, in nature, in skills, art, music, whatever. So then I come back to the here and now, that yes, there is no ground. So let me be here. Whatever beauty is there, let me appreciate it. Let me, if I can use the word, fall in love with that here and now. So that's the point of groundlessness a few of you shared. And I think Rick has shared that all the time we suffer because we cling in our relationships. Something comes which is beautiful, it's a happening which is just beautiful. The ego pops up and it says, I want more. So greed, clinging, possessiveness, we want to possess. It's also a part of love only, but it's a distorted part. I want to possess the human being, and that always distorts the relationships. We go into so much of suffering when we try to possess someone, because that limits another freedom, another person's freedom, and I limit my own self and freedom in that possessiveness. So as Rick was sharing, that now after so many relationships, he's now, okay with not sticking to one particular person and making that person center of his life. Because then we don't expand our heart to other people. We become too narrowed, too constricted. So that's another purifying aspect, that I'm shown that I cling through these kind of, whatever relationships that happen. I'm shown that it leads me to suffering, and hence I grow. I realized that nobody likes to suffer. Who is one fellow on the earth who would say, I want suffering? Nobody wants to suffer. It's not our true nature. But we do suffer. And we do suffer because there are impurities, and there is nothing to be shameful about. The journey is transforming the impurities. That's our challenge as this warrior, the Aryan spirit that we have. And why it is given to us, all the impurities? Because we can transform it. If we were unable to transform it, this task will be not given to us. So we can endure the suffering. We can transform our suffering to purer and purer degrees of love. There is no end to it. There is no end to it. Just like divine is infinite, love is also infinite. The quality, the degrees of love is also infinite. One revelation after the another revelation. As some of you were sharing, and one feels grateful that one is given this opportunity to purify oneself, because through all our relationships, we get to know our impurities. I get to know that I don't know how to love. Isn't that a revelation? That I think when I'm saying I love you, that's love, but that's possessiveness, that's demand. I'm demanding you to love me back. I'm selfishly wanting you only for me. So we see all this darkness in us, which makes us suffer. And hence we cannot stop there, because suffering is a very uneasy place. We cannot stop at suffering. We will have to transform it. We will be propelled to transform it from within, because that is not our true nature. So that's the purifying aspect, that through all these relationships, I learn about my impurities and darkness. And then I learn also about the suffering of others, because just like I suffered in romantic love or whatever love and trying to possess and, expecting, demanding from relationships, others are also suffering. So we open our heart in the middle of the suffering. In my suffering, I can open my heart and suddenly I get a realization, oh my God, just like I am suffering, trying to possess and want and demand, others, so many others are in the similar situation. All of us are suffering. So you connect with the pain of others. And then, we often in my workshops, I've shared about this Buddhist technique called Tonglen, where you connect with, inhale the suffering of others through your suffering, because hence I am suffering right now. Just like this, others also suffer whenever they try to possess and attach and cling to, people and situations. In attachment, we suffer. So let me inhale all that suffering that all of us go through and release contentment and joy for myself and others in the similar situation. So it makes me open my heart. My suffering, now I have made use of it. I have opened my heart not only to my 2-3 fellows in the family, but the whole mankind, whole sentient beings. All of the suffering that is caused by attachment, by greed, by wanting to possess and cling. No one can be happy in clinging. That's not our true nature. Mother says that our journey is from desire soul to our true soul. And desiring self is this clinging part, it wants more and more, but it's never gets satiated. And it suffers in the process. So can we chart this journey ahead? And in the moment of suffering, can I make use of that suffering? Can I connect with all the people who are suffering in this moment with anger, with resentment, with aversion, whatever I'm feeling right now? Can I make use of it? Connect with all the suffering that is happening in the name of anger, aversion, greed, lust, desire. Desire makes us suffer. And inhale all that suffering and release contentment and joy and lasting peace and joy for everyone. In mother's prayers and meditations, we see this again and again. She doesn't name it, but she's doing Tonglen every time. She doesn't name it. That's what, I feel that she's doing through her own suffering, since she has plunged into human existence and taken this human birth to know how we suffer. So the moment she gets in touch with any kind of suffering through others or through herself, she immediately talks about the whole earth. That just like I am going through this, may all the people who are going through and suffering through their vain mirages of thoughts and stories and dramas and opinions and clinging, may they all get comforted in your silence and your peace. So Mother is doing Tonglen all the time. The moment we do it, we shift our consciousness. Immediately I'm not the desiring self. Immediately I'm not the suffering self. Immediately I'm not the breaking, desiring, clinging, angry self. I have just transformed in that moment, in where I wish goodness and contentment for all the people who are suffering like me. And the only solace that we can find, is in the depths of our own being. We are enough. All of us are enough. And if we get in touch with that depth within us, which is a process, a long process, since we get swayed again and again, this pulls and that pulls and this pulls and that pulls, so many pulls are there. But to come back again and again to our depths and consciously know our true nature, without which we cannot be happy. We cannot be happy. We will always want others to make me happy, and that is not going to happen. We will suffer immensely in that. So this is the purifying aspect, that the more we go into dependency on any other person or a life situation, or this, if only this is fixed, I'll be happy. If only I get this, I'll be happy. That's never going to happen. And even if it happens, it gives 2 minutes happiness, another issue pops up again. So can we do this kindness, an act of kindness to ourselves, that instead of depending upon outer situations all the time to make us happy and contented, can I become a source of love, joy, and peace? Because I see that the world is suffering, just like I suffered. That's what Mother is doing in prayers and meditations, showing us the way ahead. That let me unify. She again and again shares that let me unify my consciousness with your consciousness, the divine consciousness, which is our true nature. And without that, we cannot be contented human beings. The more we are in the desiring self, we will be suffering human beings and of no use to anyone. Of no use to anyone. So can we make use? And hence the suffering is there, knowing that the suffering is there. Can we make use of it? And nothing to be guilty or shameful about that. Oh my God, I have been on the spiritual path for 20 years and I'm still suffering. Yeah, why not? Buddha said that samsara, it is samsara. Don't expect that people will make you happy and you will have all the comforts and whatever you are wanting. Something will always be missing. Something will always be missing. Why? Because we live in the egoistic consciousness where everything is missing all the time. So can I turn the focus within and unify myself with my true nature, the divine consciousness within? And hence purify myself through all experiences that I am having. Being okay with the groundlessness. Yes, I can't trust anyone. Rather than feeling victimized that, oh my God, that person left me and this person left me. I had trusted him so much, loved him so much. Nobody, really, in the egoistic space, we are not really loving. We are just selfishly attached. It's hard to accept actually that in the name of love, we are just selfish. We want our own completion. And if you are not sure that you are not selfish, try doing Tonglen for people who you claim to love. Try it. I tried, so I'm just sharing with you that people who you claim to love, only beginning from there, sit down one day and inhale their suffering and exhale peace and contentment for them. See how much resistance you will feel. And even in spite of resistance, if you go ahead, that will lead to breaking of the shell of the ego. And it will make me realize that I am actually claiming that I love people, but I'm not ready to inhale their poison. So is this love or selfishness or, one get confused almost. So it's a very humbling experience that in the name of love, we really are just selfish. I just want my completion. The other may go to hell. I don't really care that much. So what to do? What to do when we see all this there? Impurities are there. What to do? To transform the impurities. We don't have any other option. Into goodness of the heart. We all have innate goodness in the heart. So whenever I feel the jealousy arising up, anger arising up, attachment arising up, to see it, just to witness it, and to almost pray for it to be transformed. Take a step back. Do not follow the dictate of attachment. Wishing welfare of others, genuine welfare of others. We usually don't want welfare of others. We want the other person to be dependent on me, just like I want to be dependent on another person. That's not welfare, because nobody can be happy limiting oneself to one or two persons. So genuine welfare will be that may the other be happy, genuinely happy and contented wherever the other may be. It's hard to do when we are attached, but it's not impossible. That's how we open our hearts. It's definitely hard since we start our journey from attachment, but it's not impossible. All of us can turn it, transmute it. So to wish good for others, whether the other person is loving me, not loving me, just send love and see whether you are able to send love or not. You will not be able to in the beginning if the attachment is there, because the attachment wants only things for oneself. It's clinging. I am incomplete and you will fulfill me. There we don't want genuine welfare for others. So to recognize this impurity in us is the purifying power of love. And this looking power in us, this witnessing aspect in us, which can look at our own inner movements, that's love. That's non-judgmental love. It does not judge, it's compassionate. That's why they say the divine is compassionate and kind. It does not judge based on how many sins you have done and how are you a criminal or a terrorist. Everybody is a child of the divine, no matter how many sins we may have done. So this looking aspect in us, the awareness within us, with which I can see the inner movements and hence transform it by discernment, that's love. Compassionately transforming my own inner movements. And just that looking does its job. That you are able to look how attached I am and how much suffering it is causing. So then I'm able to, in discernment, I'm able to take step back, not to go forward too much in demanding and expecting, which comes to us naturally almost. We start from there. So 3 root poisons have been in Buddhist tradition, named as aversion and anger. The first one is aversion, anger, or hatred. Second is attachment, clinging, which causes a lot of suffering. And the third is ignorance of who we truly are. Because if I really would know who I truly am, then I would not run after people and things to make me complete. So I'm ignoring my true nature, and hence I'm suffering. So to be conscious of these poisons when they arise in the being, and they arise in everyone, no matter how spiritually advanced one may be or consider oneself to be, they will arise. That's our human condition. But we have the capacity to look at it. When anger is arising, when aversion is arising, we have a choice in that moment not to follow the dictate, not to identify too much with the feeling of aversion and hatred and anger. It kills, it leads to almost killing, so much of suffering. Attachment, we are attached to our own thoughts and ideas. We are attaching to our stories in the head. This is what happened with me, and I have been on the spiritual path. So this is all stories in our head. What else? And I am attaching to them. And somebody, if If somebody remarks against your story, you will be devastated because, oh my God, how can this happen? This is my story. So we are clinging to our stories. We are clinging to people in life. And we are ignorant of our true nature, cause of all suffering. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo and so many other masters, mystics have shown us the path. Know who you truly are. Detach from the surface mind, which is always in turmoil, always up and down and up and down. You are the one who is looking at those waves. So give it a breathing space, like here are the movements and here is myself, awareness. And can I just look at those movements? At times I will be swayed, not to bother about that. At times I will be swayed by anger. But in the middle of being swayed by the anger, I still can have the witnessing aspect. It gives a lot of breathing space. Usually we are tied up, glued up with our thoughts, feelings and sensations like this. But when I become awareness, knowingly, I am awareness all the time, but knowingly, if I take a stance, step back, okay, let me see what is this tendency arising again and again. Let me look at it. We give it a breathing space. There is a space that arises. And in that space, we can make a choice whether we want to go ahead following the dictate of any tendency that is arising, or maybe take a step back within myself and find the comfort and peace and solace in the depths of my own being. Getting in touch with the breath and the body, bringing mind to the body, using nature or whatever activity with hands. So many things are there nowadays, to come back, to bring the mind from the stories where it is always entangled to home, to the body, either through sensations of the body, coming back home, or through the breath. Anything that brings me back home, knowingly taking stance as awareness. Dissociating from the surface movement, disentangling myself from the surface movements. There we find peace. So if we have ran enough, if really we have ran enough, and all of us, today, whoever is attending, I'm sure we have ran enough. After people, things, situations, this should happen only then I'll be happy. That should happen only then I will be happy. We can forever keep on waiting and something or the other will always be missing. But now is the choice that we can make to take charge of coming back home. Every moment we have to take this charge because we get pulled from here and there. So many places we are attached. And we can use all the spaces wherever we are attached, as a raw material on the spiritual path. That to see that I am attached and how much suffering it is causing me and the other person. And to turn attachment to love. To let go. It's hard to let go when we depend as our ground on other people and situations. Then it becomes, or even jobs, even spiritual path. I am, the trustee of this and that ashram, or anything can become our ground. And when it's taken away, since things are changing, then one loses the ground and one is left with groundlessness. So can I right now in the middle of things be okay with groundlessness, knowing that sooner or later groundlessness is a fact of life. And when we become okay with groundlessness, we are becoming okay with the divine. Because the divine is groundlessness, isn't he? Infinite. Can you touch infinity? I cannot touch infinity. I cannot make infinity my ground, It's never like this solid. So when we talk about divinity, it's always infinity, right? And infinity means no ground. Sky, if we look as, usually our true nature is also compared to sky, blue sky. Clouds keep on coming and going, thoughts and feelings come and go, sensations come and go, and blue sky is always there. Now if you go, can you touch the blue sky? It's infinite, you cannot touch it. So we have to be okay with groundlessness. Why? Because that's our true nature. We can only find contentment being okay in groundlessness. That's love. And it's easier said than done, because we know that after one revelation, we get stuck at another point. We may have a beautiful revelation in our spiritual journey, but then I make that a part of my sense of self, and I cling to that. My story, my journey, I cling to that. I make anything my ground. Yeah, so this process of Tonglen, I can actually, if we have time, James, how much time we have? 6:15, or how much? 1 hour or 1.5 hours?
We've got 15 minutes left.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I wanted to share a little video with you, if you allow, where we talk about the practice of Tonglen. That will make it even more clear. Just a second. I'll share it with all of you. Yes. So I hope I can, yes, share this video. So here there is a teacher who's talking about Tonglen, how to practice it. Let's hear it, and maybe then we can, I won't play the full one. It's 15 minutes long. Maybe a bit of it would be enough, to give you an idea.
Hello, welcome back. And how was the bodhicitta practice? And I think this is, of course, not so easy. In one way, we might feel like, wow, this is a great commitment. This is not realistic. But in other way, the bodhicitta is with us actually from deeper level we all have. We all want to do something good, something virtuous, something nice. Nobody think from beginning, I want to be the bad person, So the deeper level is with us all the time. So last time we asked a question, I asked a question. Normally I ask this question to many people. If you have capacity, will you help all beings that fully connected with the love and compassion, awareness and wisdom? And most people say yes, right? So it's there with us. We need to recognize that. So now, today is the main teaching for today is Tonglen, as I promised to tell you more meaning about this Tonglen from the last week. So Tong meaning in Tibetan word, sending or giving. Len meaning taking. So what we are giving and taking, and this is such wonderful practice that sometimes what we call self-antidote, self-transformation. So maybe we will do first taking, okay? And then we do Tonglen, Tong, taking and sending. Tong is sending. So taking here is, let's say, if you have kleshas, like maybe aversion, hatred, or craving, jealousy, ignorance, confusion, clashes, all these clashes, or normally what we call suffering, meaning maybe you might feel stress, or you might feel depressed, or you might having irritation. When I was young, I had panic attacks. So I use my panic as subject of my Tonglen. So whatever problems, maybe nowadays we are having pandemic around the world, maybe losing loved ones also, or you get pain or get disease or lost job, whatever those problems. And what we're going to do here is to understand our own problem, to be aware of that, And at the same time, we understand others also having suffering when they have these problems, when they have these clashes, like with hatred, we will never be in peace. So not happy. With the panic, of course not happy. With the stress, of course not happy. So you understand about others. Whoever having these clashes and suffering, they are not happy. Right? So now what you can do? So here is today, this is imaginative level, of course. And it's kind of like, looks like not realistic, but you know, in the imagination you can do anything. But in a way, it really helps us to develop strength of love and compassion, and it really helps us to build our will to help others. It will develop skills, talents to help others. In a way, it's helping others. So there's a lot of scientists now saying that if we are imagining that we are doing physical exercise, actually grow muscle. So here we are transforming that these clashes and suffering. Let's say maybe we will do the hatred as example. You have hatred, and when we do taking and sending practice with the hatred, then actually hatred transforms into love and compassion without suppressing it, without getting rid of the hatred. Poison become medicine. Problem become solution. And it really helps to free your hatred. You will have full of love and compassion. Right? Yeah, so we will do this practice together now. So first, please keep your spine loosely straight, and please relax your body and the muscles. Be your mind and body together. And as I mentioned in the past again and again, it doesn't matter whether you are relaxed or not relaxed, peace or not peace, it doesn't matter. Just be with whatever there in your body. And of course, the feeling that or feeling or wanting to practice this is love, and being with whatever coming, being with your body is awareness, and accepting whatever good and bad. You are not rejecting, you are not controlling, accepting them and be as it is the wisdom. So you have love, you have awareness, you have compassion. Now with your body. So now think of that maybe you might have some confusion, hatred, jealousy, panic, depression, whatever you have, some problems that you are facing it now. To be aware of that problem first. Bring awareness to the clashes or the problem in your life now. And when you have these clashes and the problems, you are not in peace. So think about others who are having this problem, they are not in peace also. So develop love and compassion to others. Now what we want to do is, when you breathe in, you can do slow breathing in. At the same time, you take others' problem into your own clashes or the problem. Let's say you have hatred. Take others' hatred or problem into your own hatred. So when you breathe in, slowly breathe in now. Take all the others' hatred as like dark smoke and dissolve into your own hatred. And now slowly breathing in and wish that may they free from hatred. So you can do that now as according to your own speed.
So I'm sharing this link with everyone. Maybe later on you can do the full practice here as he describes it. Yeah. So like this we can make use of our suffering. We know that suffering is there and we don't have to not accept it, saying that I am a spiritual person and now I'm free of all the kleshas, as he was sharing. We do have all the kleshas, maybe in a subtler form, in a different degree. So to accept it and to take it on the path, to know that it is there, to know aversion is there, to know anger is there, to know possessiveness is there, to know that I am suffering, wanting love from another person. And just like me, all the people who are wanting and expecting love are suffering. So let me inhale all that suffering and wish everyone contentment and joy from the depths of my heart, including myself. So you yourself also, to yourself, you also send love and contentment and joy, which mother, in her prayers and meditations, again and again, she shares that may everyone find solace in divine comfort and peace and stillness within. Because there only we can get contentment. We cannot get contentment in impermanent things and peoples and situations. So that's, and there are other teachers also who talk about Tonglen. You can find it on YouTube. There's another teacher called Pema Chodron. She also talks about Tonglen, gives the practice of Tonglen as he was sharing. Yeah, so before it's very interesting actually. Every time I prepare something else and I land up doing something else. So I had prepared many slides for today and we've not been able to touch any of them, but I think we have taken up the essence of what we wanted to share, and beautiful to hear all the reflections. So yeah, anything anyone wants to share? Any reflection, any question, thought, anything?
Hi, Monica. This is Ira here.
Yeah.
I just want to share. I was quite skeptical when you said, when you mentioned the technique that you take in other people's trouble or other people's clashes and, send compassion. But when I did this exercise, even for that 2 minutes, it felt good. I mean, that's why I was absolutely pleasantly surprised, because I did it out of no expectation, frankly. I said, okay, I should be sincere because I have joined this, and I wasn't expecting any result. But it's very interesting, and I want to do that, because you kind of actually want to avoid what you don't like in yourself, because you feel, or in others, because you feel it's negative. And but this is quite revealing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's quite a revelation actually, because in the beginning one usually gets this feeling that I'll not be able to handle it and would not be able to do it. But since all of us have this enlightened nature of love and compassion and kindness, and all of us really want to be good, really, we are not able to, but we really want to be good, so we land up feeling good only. Yeah, it shifts our consciousness. Thank you for sharing.
Hello. Yeah, I feel this is Shakuntala, and it is a simple method of transformation. From my point of view, so simple and instant, and which we are doing breathing even otherwise. We can use the breathing for positive things and simple things, and I think much load will be taken away. And we had one session of chakras, and we have chakras here, and I think some of the chakras are blocked because of our own interpretations of some of our natural habits. So I think it is a very useful technique that we can use all the time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yes. Yeah. I think here also what I feel good about it, that we don't have to deny our experiences as a human being. As a human being, we go through jealousy, we go through hatred all the time. Aversion, not liking somebody, attaching to somebody, wanting, demanding, being hateful, resentful. These are our common experiences. Let's accept this. As a human being, we go through these experiences. So the beauty of this is that I don't have to deny what I am going through, and yet I transform it, transmute it, just like that story of princess kissing a frog and it turning into prince. So we kiss the frog, we go close to our own experience, and we connect with all the experience the whole mankind, or the whole earth is having, and the shift happens. And as Ira was sharing, that one doesn't expect that much to happen, but it changes our being. We immediately, for that moment, lightness comes and we are unburdened. Yes. And this has to be a continuing process. It's like something, and as somebody was sharing, that we can offer it to the mother. Absolutely. Absolutely. So whatever works for anyone, whatever works. So either I offer it to the mother, or I connect with all the pain that others are also going through like me, and offer it, all of it, to the mother, which mother is doing in her prayers and meditations, most of the times, offering it to the divine and transforming the humanity, transforming mankind, because we suffer, and all of us want to have a good life. We want to express our kindness and compassion and goodness more degrees, increasing degrees. So yes, it's a very powerful little tool. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, so yeah, thank you for all the people who have typed in the chat window. Thank you for being here, and I'm glad that a few of us at least could resonate with what we talked today. Yeah, and it's a long process, learning how to love is a long process, and then let's all of us be on the path. Yes, James.
Yeah, and the process was so simple as well. The Tonglen process is so beautifully simple. So thank you for sharing, Monica. Yeah. So just keeping that constant movement of expansion and freedom. That's what it's all about. So until tomorrow then. So tomorrow we have a change because Gitanjali has a bit of a throat problem. So Dr. Basu will be stepping in tomorrow for the fifth session. So until then, thank you very much, Monica.
Yeah, thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, everyone, for participating.
Thank you.
Until then, until tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.